Maria Silveira, Endiama, the Diamond Parastatal Company, TAG, the Angola National Airlines, Accession International, represented by Derek Campbell, and the Washington Diplomat. And I would like to thank all of these companies for the support, and I assure you that it is deeply appreciated. And if you'll join me in a round of applause, I think it's in order. I think the interesting thing here is to see the mix of companies from both Angola and the United States, and it shows the depth of the relationship that is being established. And now I would like to welcome to the podium my very good friend and enthusiastic promoter of Angola Day in her country and here in the United States, Ambassador Josefina Diakete.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to start by thanking Your Excellencies, the representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, African Diplomatic Corps here in Washington for coming and in support of our activity. And at the same time, welcome all the participants and especially the Angolan delegation. We have here the Minister of Industry of Angola, which is leading the delegation. We have the Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Relations, the Deputy Minister of Health, and the Deputy Minister of Education. My special thanks, although my predecessor, Paul, had already said, goes to the Diane Swain, the former director of USAID in Angola, and all the team of the Chevron in Angola and in US Special Dennings Flames. We are celebrating today 5 years of peace in Angola. We were supposed to celebrate this in last month, as was the 5th. We celebrate the 5th anniversary of peace, but at the same time we are celebrating also 14 years of diplomatic relations between Angola and the United States. The relations between Angola and the United States today looks very well, are very good. There was a lot of improvements during all those 14 years, especially politically and economically. Politically, we could assist many activities at high level, presidential visitors for the ministers of Angola to the United States and from the United States to Angola. We did great improvement in terms of the sectors of health care, education, agriculture, transportation, with the last acquisition of 5 aeroplanes from Boeing. But indeed, having in account the time, the dimension, and the role that Angola can play in terms of the supporting the stability of oil, we think that it's time to improve, to discuss, and is really what we are looking today, how we can discuss in terms of looking how to improve the level of the relations between Angola and the United States. Today, although I mentioned the oil sector, which is the main, one of the main areas of the cooperation between Angola and the United States, I should say that deliberately we decide to concentrate the discussion today at the sectors that really are making more improvement in Angola after peace. The industry, extractive industry, doing quite well in terms of oil, diamonds, and the mining sector in general terms, but we need to improve the relations at the sector like industry, education, healthcare, transport, communication, in terms of really enable the country to move forward after all those years of peace. So having said that, I will introduce the main speaker of this morning, which is the Minister of Industry, Minister Joaquim da Costa David. Minister Joaquim da Costa David, previous of being Minister of Industry, of Minister of Finance, and previously was President and CEO of Sonangol, which is our national oil company. Minister Joaquim David is an oil engineer, and please help me in welcoming Minister Joaquim David. Thank you very much.
Let me just indicate as the minister comes to the podium that we did have a problem with translation equipment. I've been informed that it should be corrected now. So those of you who wish to use that.
Fiquem à vontade se quiserem usar o aparelho para tradução. Está ouvindo bem?
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Muito obrigado, embaixador.
Let me just take a chance
Quero,
to
neste
add
momento,
one more person to our delegation.
apresentar
Deputy Minister of Public Works is also here,
vice-ministro
in
de
addition
Obras
to
Públicas,
Deputy
que aqui
Minister
se
that were
encontra,
announced before.
ministros que já foram também
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen,
Senhoras e senhores,
I'm very
Excelências,
pleased to be
é
associated with
imenso
this
prazer
event.
colaborar neste evento.
This event is part of the
Isto
celebrations
faz
of
parte
the
da
Angolan Day.
comemoração do Dia de Angola.
I'm confident that the
Tenho
planned activities
confiança
will not only
que
contribute
essas atividades não só
to a better
contribuirão
knowledge
para
of the
melhor
current
conhecimento
political and
da
economical
situação
reality in Angola,
política e econômica atual de
but also
Angola,
strengthen the
mas
bilateral
também
relations
as
between the United
relações
States and our
bilaterais
country.
entre os Estados Unidos e o nosso país.
As we all know,
Como bem sabem,
Angola today enjoys
Angola
an
hoje
unique moment in
está
our
passando
history.
por momento singularmente
Following a
importante
bloody
na sua
armed
história,
conflict
com um
that
fim
left
do
deep
conflito
scars
que deixou
in its
profundas
productive and
cicatrizes
human structure.
em termos de perdas humanas
Angolans
e
successfully
materiais.
found in
Angola
2002 the
finalmente, em
path that led to
2002,
peace and security.
conseguiu encontrar o caminho para a paz
These are
e
two
segurança.
fundamental requirements for
Dois
sustainable
requisitos
development.
fundamentais para o desenvolvimento
Thus, the
sustentável.
contest has been established to continuously build
Continuamos a
on a solid foundation,
ficar
a
sobre
democratic
esses
state of law,
sólidos
and a strong
para que
and,
haja
and developed
Estado
economy in Angola.
e regime de direito em
As I
Angola.
speak, a voter registration process is ongoing in Angola,
Processo de registro
aimed
eleitoral em Angola.
at holding the second legislative elections in our
As
country's
segundas
history.
eleições legislativas na história do nosso
These elections are scheduled for
país
2008,
realizadas.
and the presidential voting is expected to be held in
As
2009.
presidenciais terão lugar em 2009.
We think that this will renew the legitimacy of the institutions of state power,
Ainda maior
and therefore strengthen cohesion and national reconciliation.
coesão e a reconciliação nacional.
This way, Angolans can feel proud of having been able to give Africa and the world
Condições de oferecer à África
an example of tolerance
exemplo
and patriotism
de tolerância e
in a continent where pockets of political instability still persist.
estabilidade política ainda subsistem.
Peace has created, without a shadow of doubt, a new environment upon which economic reforms
Criando
have been implemented.
ambiente que permite a execução
This is a process that has been going since
processo
80s,
que está em
one that is geared toward having
processo
laying the ground for a sustainable development.
cuja meta precípua é
For the Angolan government,
o desenvolvimento
the
sustentável.
sustained development consists of various components,
Desenvolvimento
and I will
sustentável
mention
tem vários
some of them.
elementos. Quero mencionar alguns
Robust
deles.
economic growth, to rates higher than the population growth.
Taxas maiores do que
Lasting employment gains as a privileged approach for people to earn income.
permite ao angolano ter
Social justice
renda, justiça social
through equal opportunities for all citizens without discrimination
os cidadãos
and
sem
by way of a fair distribution of national revenue.
uma distribuição adequada da renda nacional.
Environment-friendly policies
Políticas
as a means
amigas
to achieve a fair balance between the interests of today's generations and tomorrow's.
da geração atual sejam defendidas.
As a result of both the new framework of peace and stability
À medida em que
and an improved economic policy in its key instruments,
a atividade econômica
economic growth has been very strong in years subsequent to 2002.
crescimento que em 2000
Therefore, the calculated real variation of gross domestic product between 2002 and 2006 was estimated at near 90%,
da ordem de 9% ao ano.
means that in 5 years, GDP almost doubled,
Houve a
translates
nosso
into an average annual rate of 13.6%.
anual de 5,6%.
And while it's true that this notable growth was triggered mainly by a strong and dynamic mining economy and by the oil sector in particular,
E forte
it's equally true
é também
that today we witness a recovery in the non-mining economy.
já recuperando o tempo
Here,
perdido
such
na economia, nas
sectors like agriculture,
exportativas e na
fishery,
mineração.
processing
Setor,
industry,
por exemplo, da
energy,
pesca,
water,
energia,
civil construction,
água,
services,
construção civil,
recorded an annual
serviços,
growth rate
houve
of around
crescimento
10%.
de mais ou menos 10%.
As an outcome of this excellent economic performance, GDP per capita, which is a clear indication of the overall living standards,
Bem, a nível
was about 2,500 US in 2006,
dólares em
and it was 2000, about 2000 and 2005.
2000, partindo de 2000 em 2005.
Real average income growth among Angolans was estimated at 15.3%, which is much higher than demographic growth rate, which was about 3%.
Foi de 3%.
And although economic theory suggests a trade-off between economic growth and stability growth,
Entre o crescimento econômico e a estabilidade,
growth in Angola has occurred without inflicting stability.
agora é resultado direto.
As an evidence of this, inflation rate continued its decrease trend,
Está,
and it was
inflação está sendo debelada,
76.5% in 2003. I remember that years before it has been much higher than 1,000%,
mais alto do que 2000.
or 31% in 2004, decreasing to 18.5 2005, 12.2 last year.
E 12,2
We expected this
no
year
ano
to be
passado.
12%
Este ano chegaremos a
as a
12%.
compromise between growth and stability
Uma solução
and economic
conciliatória
stability.
entre o crescimento e a estabilidade
Moreover,
econômica.
times of chronic instability in our
Além da
currency,
instabilidade
the
econômica
Kwanzaa,
na
are
nossa
something
moeda,
of the
o Kwanzaa,
past
já
today.
passou a história.
The Angolan Central Bank maintains a fluctuation policy of the currency in the exchange market.
No mercado de
Its
capital.
value being stable today compared to the main currencies. In fact, a slight appreciation of our currency relative to the US dollar has been recorded last year. The national currency stability has made it possible to modernize and diversify the financial system in its role to bring in savings and investors, a phenomenon that has led to gains for corporations and households. Legislation on capital market and non-banking institution has been passed. This includes funds, investment partnerships, leasing, factory and risk capital, as well as discount houses. In terms of employment, which is also an economic variable reflecting domestic economy level of integration, and one of the factors guaranteeing national reconciliation. Unemployment rate was estimated in 2006 at about 25%. This was lower than the 29% the year before.
que no ano anterior, que chegou a 29%.
And this is result of
Esse é o
efforts
resultado
aiming
dos
at
esforços
integrating the informal
destinados a
economy
integrar
into
a
the formal one,
economia formal,
to a reduction
com
in
a informal,
administrative red tape
criando
and fiscal redressing.
eliminações, maneiras de eliminar
On the other hand,
burocracia e a
due to
confusão
efforts
que
aiming at
dificulta
diversifying the economy, so
a
that
diversificação
non-mining
da
economy,
economia permitiu
which is
que
more labor
toda
intensive,
a
acquire
economia
greater
que tem
leverage in
maior densidade
GDP
de mão de
structure.
obra, passou a representar
We believe
uma parte mais importante no
That
nosso
the
PIB.
unemployment rate, which is recognized, is still high.
Acreditamos que
In
o
absolute
desemprego,
terms, will
em
continue
termos
to fall
absolutos,
in years to
continuará a
come.
diminuir nos anos vindouros.
Excellencies, ladies,
Senhoras
and
e
gentlemen,
senhores, excelências,
the above-mentioned indicators show
os
that Angola
indicadores
economy
mencionados
is in steady
anteriormente
growth.
demonstram que o crescimento constante de Angola,
Contribution for this growth has also been the government-run program designed to
foi
rehabilitate
também
the
obtido
infrastructures
através dos programas
destroyed
de
during the war,
reabilitação da infraestrutura que foram
in order
devastadas
to improve the
durante a
living
guerra,
standards
para
among
melhorar
the
o
population
nível de vida da
and
população,
streamline the private sector,
para tornar mais
roads,
eficiente o
bridges,
setor privado,
railroads,
várias
energy
pontes,
regenerating
estradas,
systems,
rodovias,
water are being recovered.
instalações de
At the same
produção
time,
de energia,
Programs
etc., tudo
intended
isso
to
está sendo
modernize
recuperado.
ports,
Procurando
airports,
também,
and
ao mesmo tempo,
telecommunication systems
remodernizar os sistemas
will
de
remain at
telecomunicação
forefront.
e a infraestrutura portuária e
This is the only way we will be able to have a modern and
Somente
competitive
assim
economy.
conseguiremos ter uma economia moderna
This is
e
how
competitiva.
famine, poverty,
É assim que
illiteracy, and
combatemos
diseases
a-
will be
o
eradicated
analfabetismo,
in a
a
sustainable
fome,
manner.
de maneira a
The financial effort to carry out these tasks is so huge that Angola could not do it all by itself. Therefore, the technical and financial cooperation with the Republic of China and other countries joining in the effort has been of a great benefit. The end of the red tape in the economic life and the improvement of business climate are other measures that will help promote greater economic and social growth, because they offer greater private investment possibilities both for nationals and foreigners. At this specific occasion, I would like to firmly call upon American investors to take advantage of the current political and economic climate in Angola by partnering with Angolan business and help Angola in the process of building a modern, democratic, and prosperous society. I thank you very much. If I can answer.
Okay. The minister has agreed to take some questions, so please, would you identify yourself and your affiliation, and we'll have a microphone that will circulate to you.
Há microfone itinerante que poderá ser usado.
Yes. Do you want to take it from the, do you want to take it right from there? Either way.
That's okay.
Okay. Oh,
Here it comes.
Okay.
It's coming.
Está aí
Right behind you.
o microfone.
It's on? Okay.
Está ligado?
Yep. My name is Alex Vines. I'm
meu
from
nome é
Chatham House,
Alex
the Royal
Vines.
Institute of International
Eu sou
Affairs
do
in London,
Instituto
and we
Real
run
de
something also
Relações
called the British Angola
Internacionais.
Forum.
E nós
Honourable
temos a
Minister,
tribuna
just wondered if you could brief
Angola
us
por
on
Grã-Bretanha.
Angola joining
O
OPEC
senhor
this
pode
year,
explicar
what the logic
nos
was and what you
como
expect
e
out of
se
that. Thank you.
Angola vai entrar na OPEC este ano e como isso será feito, por favor.
Well, thank you very much.
Muito grato.
We have been
Nós
observers of OPEC for a long
já
time.
há muito tempo que somos observadores.
We all know the importance of OPEC
Conhecemos bem
in the
a
world.
importância da OPEP e
The capability
a possibilidade que tem
to control
de
up to certain extent the price of crude.
controlar o preço do petróleo
Um,
de certa forma.
we have been a modest export of crude for long
Há
years.
muitos anos que
If
somos
I
dos grandes
try to
exportadores
speak
de petróleo cru.
in terms of figures, I would
Em
say
termos
that
estatísticos, posso lhes
we have
adiantar
been under a million barrels of oil a day
que
for
exportamos
until
milhão de
4 or 5 years
barris
ago,
por dia,
maybe
há
less
5
than
anos
that.
atrás, talvez um pouco menos.
We didn't have volume to be part of whoever controls the price.
O volume também
And,
faz parte do mecanismo de controle da
in
cotação
our
do petróleo.
domestic economy,
Na nossa economia
we have
nacional,
been influenced by the volatility
nós
of oil
sofremos a
prices,
influência da
because
volatilidade
a big
nas
portion of our
cotações do
budget
petróleo,
was
porque
depending on the
parte
revenues
do
from
nosso
the
orçamento
crude.
dependia de receitas provenientes do petróleo cru, do bruto.
Having the possibility,
Tendo a
after
possibilidade,
we are producing now
como
1.5 million and we have
1,5
potential to produce more,
milhões e podemos produzir
having
ainda
the
mais,
possibility of being
temos a
part of
possibilidade de passar a
whoever
fazer parte
as a ward on the market, on the price,
do
seemed to us
mercado, dos preços
of
que no
benefit.
mercado imperam, e isso
The
pode
volumes
ser
we produce at
extremamente
this stage
produtivo,
justify that.
benéfico. O volume de produção do
On the other
nosso petróleo
side,
explicam e justificam isso.
we know that
Por outro lado,
the
nós
success of
sabemos
our
que
oil
o
industry is
sucesso da
result
nossa indústria,
of the excellent relations we
sem
had with oil companies.
excelente relacionamento que temos com as
I can
companhias de petróleo.
remember that we had excellent relations and good economical cooperation with the American companies
Colaboração,
far
relações
before
com
we
as
have
companhias de
political and
petróleo dos
diplomatic
Estados Unidos.
relations with
Muito antes
with the
das
United
relações
States.
diplomáticas
So
com os Estados
we
Unidos.
believe that
Portanto,
will be
nós acreditamos
a good bridge
que
between the
representaremos uma
interests
boa ponte entre
and
os interesses
the activity of the oil companies that are our partners
dos
with
nossos parceiros,
the
as companhias de petróleo,
the forum that has a big word on the oil price.
no momento
Therefore,
em que
we
se
think
existe uma
that
elevação generalizada
just
nas
losing the
cotações do
opportunity to be
petróleo.
part of OPEC when we were invited
Portanto,
to jump
podemos
in
deixar
was wrong.
o
That's why
valermos desta
we joined.
oportunidade no momento em que ela se apresentou. Eis porque nós nos afiliamos a
Morning, Minister. I'm Herman Cohen of Johns
O meu
Hopkins
nome
University.
é Herman Cohen, da Universidade Johns
You
Hopkins.
mentioned industrial development
O senhor
as
falou
one
do
of the
desenvolvimento
ambitions of
industrial,
Angola.
uma das
Could you give us any
ambições
information
de Angola.
about projected
Fale algo
electricity
sobre
production
a
between, say,
produção
now and the next 10
elétrica
years?
projetada tanto para agora como para os próximos 10 anos?
Is a tough question
Pergunta difícil.
because I would, to be precise, would
Por
have
quê?
to go into figures,
Teríamos que lançar mão de estatísticas para
and I don't
poder
have the
ser
figures
mais
now. I can,
Infelizmente, não
if I can
disponho
use this
de
word,
estatísticas
speculate a
agora.
little bit on that.
Posso fazer algumas conjecturas, se me permitirem.
Recently, we commissioned the first our hydropower station
Nós
that was built
inauguramos
after
a
our
nossa
independence. We
primeira
call it Capanda.
usina elétrica de
Is
Capanda,
able to
que
produce
pode produzir
in excess of 500
mais de
megawatts.
500 megawatts.
When that started,
No início,
maybe 10, 15 years ago,
10,
that
15
the
anos
construction of
atrás,
that
me refiro à
hydropower station
construção
was
dessa
badly influenced by
hidroelétrica.
the war. But
Nós
when
ainda
it
estávamos em
started,
guerra,
it looked
mas no momento,
like a white elephant.
nós pensamos que
And
isso
everybody
viria a
thought
ser grande
500
elefante
megawatts,
branco.
what do we
500
need this
megawatts,
energy
o que
for?
que nós vamos fazer com tudo isso
Today,
de energia?
the
Hoje em
capital
dia,
spends 400
a
megawatts.
capital
And
gasta
it's
mais
our
de
feeling
400
that is
megawatts.
just
E
for
acreditamos
housings, small
Que
business, trade
para
business,
pequenas
because the
empresas
industries
e
are still
para
starting.
as moradias, porque a indústria ainda
So
está
the need
começando.
for hydropower is very big.
Precisamos agora de muita energia, principalmente
We are
hidrelétrica.
blessed by the fact that our rivers have high potential for generating energy. If I try to say some figures, the Kwanza River, where this Kapanda Dam is, and also Kambam, which is an old one, I believe has potential for maybe 15,000 megawatts. Million.
15 milhões de megawatts.
I don't know if someone can help me
Não
with
sei se
figures.
alguém pode me ajudar aqui.
The Kapanda, we have 500.
Kapanda temos
We have
500,
potential for
temos a
3 or 4
potência de
more
3 ou
dams
4
like
outras
Kapanda, and I think I'm
Kapanda,
right on figures around 15,000
mais ou menos
megawatts.
15 mil megawatts.
We have other rivers in Angola,
Temos
so
outros
our
rios em
belief
Angola, portanto,
is that the potential
acreditamos que
for generating hydro energy
potencial
is
de
big there.
geração de energia é muito grande.
Now it comes to the other side, the demand.
Agora chegamos ao outro
We are
lado da
analyzing
questão, a questão da
intentions
procura. Nós estamos
to have,
fazendo,
for instance, high
uma análise
electricity, high intense electricity industries, steel
potencialidade
industries,
de indústrias que usam muita energia, como por exemplo a indústria
aluminum.
siderúrgica, do alumínio.
These are basic the proposals we are analyzing,
São essas
that
as
at this
propostas
stage
que
we
estamos
believe they
analisando,
compete
e nesse
with
momento,
our goal of
acreditamos que
diversifying our
nos
industries,
permitirá uma
and
diversificação
having
do nosso
wider
leque
portfolio
industrial,
of industries like
abrindo assim caminho para uma
agriculture,
grande carteira de
agro-industries,
no setor
like industries that come
agrícola,
downstream from the oil
agroindustrial,
industry, petrochemicals,
derivados do petróleo,
fertilizers,
químicos, fertilizantes, etc.
industries that use our
São
natural
as
resources
indústrias que
like
fazem
our forests,
uso dos
timber,
nossos recursos
and also
naturais,
other
nossos
mines. We have potential
madeireiros,
for copper, for,
minas,
well, it's known we have
indústria
potential
extrativa
for
do cobre,
diamonds as well.
também diamantes.
So,
Assim sendo,
without having already a definitive study,
não concluímos
we can just pinpoint 3 points.
mas podemos dizer 3
Uh,
coisas.
the hydro potential
O potencial
we have there
hidrelétrico de que dispomos atualmente
is maybe 15, 20 folds higher than what we have so far.
20 vezes maior do
We have potential for
que já
industries
foi
that
realizado até
are
agora.
high intensive in terms of
São
energy,
indústrias que
aluminum,
têm grande,
steel, and so.
densidade do uso de
The third one,
energia, como
they
a
compete
indústria siderúrgica
with
do
our
alumínio,
intention to diversify,
também
to
nos
get
permitem
out
uma
of only oil and diamonds,
diversificação para
diversify
sairmos
our
dessa
portfolio of industries.
monodependência
we
do
still
petróleo
don't have-
unicamente. Não temos ainda.
And also because
Como
this diversification
essa
will be made based
diversificação
as result
Só poderá
of
ser
private
feita
initiative,
com
which you
a
cannot
indústria
measure
privada,
at this
coisa que
stage.
não podemos
It will
medir
depend
neste momento.
on the initiative of companies
Se
like
fôssemos
American
depender
companies
de
we're trying to
iniciativas como
to
as companhias
catalyze now.
americanas que
So
estamos procurando
we have not
regimentar
at this
agora.
stage
Portanto,
definitive
neste
figure
momento, não temos
that
ainda dados
tells us
definitivos
exactly
que nos
which way to
expliquem
go if we have
exatamente qual é o caminho que
to allow
devemos seguir
some intensive
para
energy industry
aumentar
right now,
a participação
or wait a
da
little bit,
indústria no
see
nosso-
what
da
we can
energia
do
no nosso
in terms
parque
of
industrial,
diversification,
ou que
and then,
podemos fazer em
my
matéria
belief,
de
go to one
diversificação.
of these high intensive energy as well.
E daí poderemos também usar
Mr.
passar a
Councilman.
desenvolver a indústria com alta densidade do uso
Mr.
de
Minister, thank you so much for a wonderful overview. And in your remarks, you referred to the Chinese-Angolan relationship. The point of departure of my question really is that I do believe that in the global context, the choice that China has made to play a role in the economy is a positive one. So it's a positive underlying point of departure. Can you share with us your experience in that relationship? How has it lived up to your expectations? Where can it be better? How do you see your experience with China and its ambitions, rightful ambitions, in the rest of Africa and the developing world? what can we learn from it in our bilateral dialogue with China? How can we help what in essence could be a triangular dialogue to make that role more effective for China, more effective for your ambitions, more effective for the world's view on that? Can you share that experience with us?
De que maneira poderia ser
thank you
ainda
very
mais,
much.
Eficaz? Muito obrigado.
Well, let me start with things I cannot share.
Primeiro,
Because I
há
don't know.
certas coisas que eu não posso explicar porque simplesmente as
The,
ignoro.
the general policy of
A
China in
política
relation to
geral da
Africa,
China, com
I don't
relação
know.
à África, desconheço.
If I was on their shoes,
Se eu estivesse
I
no
would
lugar
try
do
to
chinês, eu
to
procuraria
find more market,
expandir os
they are
mercados para os meus
developing
produtos.
very rapidly.
A China está se desenvolvendo rapidamente,
They will be self-sufficient on
conquistar
a lot of areas. They invested
autossuficiência em
heavily,
muitos campos nos
and
quais
it's
precisamos
normal
de
that they will need
grandes,
some market outside.
certamente
But it's
precisarão de
speculation.
mercados
I don't know
externos.
exactly
Mas
what
isso
their
é pura
policy is.
conjetura, não sei exatamente qual é a política chinesa.
In our experience, first,
O que nós
the amount of destruction,
vivenciamos
and you know the country,
em Angola, o senhor conhece
the
Angola,
amount
sabe que houve uma
of
devastação generalizada.
projects we
país.
have
Por isso
to-
temos que realizar
to commission in order to
grandes
rehabilitate
projetos para
our
poder
infrastructures is very big.
reconstituir a nossa infraestrutura.
It will take some decades if we had to do that
Isso tudo
by
levará
ourselves.
várias décadas. Se é
We
que
have a lot
nós
of limitations, not only financial,
decidirmos fazer isso sozinhos.
technical.
Nós temos muitas limitações financeiras,
as well.
técnicas
Maybe others.
e outras.
Therefore, it's clear that we
Assim
need
sendo,
some support, some
Torna-se
foreign aid.
evidente que nós vamos precisar de
It
ajuda
happened
de
that
fora.
relations with China,
As
political
nossas
relations, were
relações
not hostile.
políticas
They had
com a
never
China
been,
nunca foram
and
hostis.
they are willing to
Os
invest
chineses
in Africa.
querem fazer
So
investimentos na
they
África.
They put forward a
Assim
line of
sendo,
credit that we
Eles nos
took.
ofereceram uma linha de crédito
In our analysis, it would
que,
be
no nosso entender,
irrational not to take that.
seria irracional não aceitar o que eles nos oferecem.
What we learned from that,
E dessa vivência, o que é que nós
they are hard
extraímos em
workers,
matéria
so they
de
work. It's good for us because
primeiro,
our labor
é um
people
relacionamento bom
has
para
a challenge,
porque
because when they see
no
them
momento em
working
que
very,
eles
very
veem
hard,
que o
they
chinês
don't want to
trabalha,
be second. So
trabalha
they,
arduamente,
we
o nosso
also try
trabalhador
to
também quer
compete on that
trabalhar
respect
e
with them.
trabalhar com
It's not
muito
easy.
afinco.
They are real hard workers.
O chinês trabalha muito.
Second, we
Segundo,
don't have
nós
the engineering capacity
não dispomos
to follow all the projects we are committed to.
da capacidade de engenharia
So we are a little
necessária
bit
para
behind.
realizar os
But
projetos. Estamos pouco
We agreed with
atrasados.
them on 30% Angolan
Agora,
content,
Nós com eles chegamos a
which
acordo
means
quanto
that we
à
have some
participação
room
por angolano
for
de 30%.
improvement, for
Isso permitirá,
benefiting
então, nos
from
projetos
the
melhorar
technology,
muito a nossa
they
situação,
know-how,
absorver
and
nova
although there is a
tecnologia,
language
novo
barrier,
know-how, claro que existe
it's
problema do
our
idioma.
belief that brings a lot of
Acreditamos que,
opportunities for small
assim,
services, for
O setor
small
de
engineering,
serviços
for
menores, pequenos
for us
projetos
to
de
start
engenharia.
playing a role
E
on
outros poderão ter
the
uma
reconstruction,
ascendência muito grande
and
na
not being
reconstrução
just
do
money.
nosso país.
Someone else comes, does, and leaves.
Não é só que
So
eles,
in general,
cheguem a Angola e
I
depois
believe
retiram.
it's what we
Retirem.
get.
Acredito que o que
If we
nós
try to
teremos
transport
no
that
futuro é o
into
seguinte, para podermos fazer a transposição
different content,
disso no contexto
you mentioned what can we learn out of
o senhor
that.
disse, o que podemos aprender?
My belief is that
Eu acredito
we are on a stage of preparation
nós
to end or to
Estamos
finalize
agora
negotiations in terms of
finalizando as negociações em termos
what is the name? World Trade Organization.
de
We are at this
colaboração
time
na Organização
negotiating
Mundial do
with the
Comércio.
European Union
Estamos agora negociando também
economic
com a União
partnership
Europeia,
agreements.
vários convênios de colaboração econômica.
We are at this stage also trying
Também estamos
to be
tentando
part of a regional economic
passar a fazer
zone
parte
like SADC. We
de
call
uma zona
that SADC,
de
Southern Africa.
desenvolvimento.
And we believe that
E acreditamos
we
que
should be on a preliminary stage of
Talvez
having some sort of
poderíamos
similar type of
já
negotiations with the
contar
United
com algum
States.
tipo de
And it's
negociação
my
desse
belief
tipo
that
com os Estados Unidos. Nós acreditamos
On the scheme of these sort of negotiations,
que,
we should have
baseado em
trade,
tudo isso,
investment,
nós teremos
development,
mais investimentos, desenvolvimento,
and
comércio,
some sort of
também
Angolan contact as part of this development and trade.
maior
So my feeling is
conteúdo
that in
de
general,
participação de Angola em todos os
if I can
projetos.
use this expression,
Para
these
usar
are
esta-
lessons
is-
we can learn
é
out
uma
of the
expressão.
experience with China.
Eu acho que muito temos a aprender com nossos
All the questions seem to be in the same quadrant. For our last question this morning, Mr. Whitney Schneidman.
também
Mr. Minister, thank you very much for
Senhor Ministro,
being here,
muito
number
obrigado
one, and
por
to
estar
sponsors
aqui
for
conosco.
hosting this. My question concerns the Gulf of Guinea. Angola recently
pergunta
became the
tem a ver com o
headquarters for the
Golfo
Gulf
da
of Guinea
Guiné.
Commission.
Existe
And
a
I was wondering
comissão
if you can
do
elaborate
Golfo da
on
Guiné,
how you see the Gulf of Guinea
sendo
as
que
a
o
regional
Golfo da
entity.
Guiné,
Does Angola
essa
see
corporação está
this is a
sediada,
security relationship,
matriz
as
está
an
em
energy
Angola.
sharing relationship,
O
and is
que
it
vão fazer?
is it
Vão
an
vão
entity that might
receber,
be a stimulant to
fazer
economic development throughout the region
organizar
and a
algum
platform
programa
for
de
engagement with other countries such
colaboração
as the United States and
com
other
outros
countries who
países
buy
e
energy from the region?
negociações conjuntas com outros países, como com os Estados Unidos e outras regiões?
Well,
Pois bem,
I try to comment on that, but if I'm
quero
out of scope, we
tecer
have
alguns
Deputy
comentários sobre
Minister of
isso,
Foreign Affairs
mas temos
that
aqui
may be
conosco
able
o
to
vice-ministro
answer
de
that
Relações
better
Exteriores,
than
que
me.
certamente poderá
Uh,
aduzir novas.
not being a man of foreign affairs,
Eu não sou
my
do
impression
setor de
is that
relações externas. Porém,
Angola cannot
acredito
afford
que Angola
to be out of the main
não
organizations
pode
in
se
the Gulf
dar
of
ao
Guinea.
luxo de ficar de fora das
we
organizações do Golfo da
are
Guiné.
part of SADC.
Nós fazemos
tudo
parte
salvo.
da SADC, que é a África Austral.
The reason for creation of SADC is known,
Por que
and
foi
this history I
criada
won't
a
comment on
SADC?
that. Today
Sabe
we
muito
try
bem,
to make
seria
of that
necessário explicar.
an economical bloc.
Queremos agora constituir bloco
We
econômico.
believe we have some similarities
Acreditamos
with
também
economies
que
in
há
South,
várias
and we do not want to leave
semelhanças entre nossas
that organization at this
Não
stage.
queremos nos retirar da SADC.
With the North, we share, for instance, with Democratic Congo,
Com o Congo Democrático,
1,500
temos fronteiras comuns.
1,500 kilometers of
1.500
border.
quilômetros de fronteira comum.
It's a big country.
País muito
We
grande.
are around 14, 15 million.
Somos
They are
14
almost 100 million
milhões, eles são
people.
quase 100 milhões de habitantes.
They face some instability
Eles estão com pequenos problemas de
that goes
instabilidade.
to the lakes, to the area of lakes,
Eles vão até a região dos lagos
and we cannot ignore
e nós
uh,
não podemos
the political evolution
fazer caso
of that instability. Hopefully
da
it's
evolução
over,
política dessa
but we cannot
instabilidade.
ignore that.
Oxalá já tenha terminado, mas não podemos.
We also
fazer
share
abstração dessa
relations
realidade.
and borders
Também
with
temos relações e fronteiras
Brazzaville,
com
Congo, Brazzaville.
Brazzaville.
In economical terms, we
Em
share
termos econômicos,
a common
nós
hydrocarbon basin.
temos em comum
So
uma bacia
without being a man from Foreign Affairs, I don't think we can afford to leave that organization either. So, although the main emphasis will be different, more economical towards south, more political with some economic intuition towards the north, we will try to the best of our capability to be on both. Deputy Minister, do you want to add something?
Mr. Minister, I want to thank you very much for excellent keynote address that lays out in a very comprehensive way the economic prospects and challenges for Angola's future. I also want to take this opportunity to just express my personal appreciation to you, Madam Ambassador, and to your embassy for facilitating both the participation of both the Minister and other members of the delegation in today's program, and also for facilitating the cultural presentations that will be part of today's activity. We're going to be, in a moment, moving to the 5th floor for a coffee break. And there on the 5th floor, you will have displayed paintings by Angolan artists. And this evening at the reception, we will have some song and dance by Angolan artists as well. So thank you for making all of that possible. Will you all join with me in expressing appreciation to the Minister for helping kicking off today's program? I'd like to invite you now to the 5th floor and back here